A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Plaguelands Media bringing you another book review today. So, cheers. Delicious. Now, today I'm bringing you a Kickstarter that arrived at the end of the last working week. I wasn't expecting it. I got home and it was there on the doorstep. Had no idea that it was going to turn up, and that's because I just fucking forgot about it. And that is The Exiled, a graphic novel written by Wesley Snipes, of all people. You can see the back cover there and the cover art. Now, it wasn't just this that turned up. I also got a copy of issue 1 with some kind of extras tacked in there. I haven't actually opened this, so I don't really know what these are. It looks like a bookmark or something. And The Exiled, The Forgotten Wars, which appears to be kind of like a mini graphic novel in and of itself, which I haven't read yet. But I will read and review it for all of you, of course, on the channel. Now, why did I back a Kickstarter for a comic book written by Wesley Snipes? To be perfectly honest with you, I was probably drunk. Don't have a fucking clue. Do I regret backing this? Actually, no. While there are some serious pacing issues, which you will see in the actual review itself, there is great art, great characters, great story, engaging, everything that you want from a graphic novel. So, cannot complain about this at all. Really happy it turned up. Really happy I read it. Really happy I am bringing you the review. So, you know what? Let's get right into the next episode of...
Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. People.
So this is The Exiled by Wesley Snipes, if you can believe that. And let's just get right into this. I wasn't expecting much from this, I will admit. So we go to chapter 1. And it was 1 year ago. We have our main character, Niles Roach Washington. He is a cop who is in pursuit of some kind of serial killer. While he's chasing this guy down, we can see the dude there is kind of planting some sort of a device. He's got a mask on. We don't exactly know who or what he is. And this appears to be a cult that is about to enact some sort of a sacrificial ritual. A little kid gets the device while Roach is basically telling the kid, just leave it alone. It goes off and this red mist kind of fills the room and kills everyone. This is known as Red Friday, based on the fact that this mist has kind of dissolved people's bones. Now, Roach was working off a hunch, and as such, he gets exiled in as much as he's sent to another precinct and kind of demoted. So we pick up the story a year later. He's got his new partner. They're called out to a suicide or an apparent suicide, but the victim is missing their spine, which in and of itself is weird. Roach is kind of putting 2 and 2 together, but his partner tells him, listen, stop playing on your hunches, just do your fucking job. They then get called to this car accident where once again, one of the victims is missing a spine, and his partner is like, Roach, stop putting these together. Just let it fucking go, buddy. But of course, he can't. Then we see this killer dressed very similarly to the person that set off the bomb a year ago with this archaic looking axe, basically tearing people to shreds. They go to the apartment of a businessman who has been killed in a similar manner. It is being protected. And while they are in the apartment, Roach's partner takes a dossier. Roach sees him do this and confronts him about it. And his partner's like, no, it's nothing. And Roach is like, fuck you, and beats the shit out of him. And it turns out that it has the names of people who supposedly survived the Red Friday attack. While this is going on, Roach's partner is caught in a blast and ultimately killed by the same guy that perpetrated the Red Friday attack. So Roach is like, what the fuck is going on? And we see him rip the dude's spine out. Now, I've got to stop here and say the art in this graphic novel is fucking awesome. I really, really like it. I like the panel layout. I think the art itself is incredibly well done. If the story pacing is a little bit off in places, which you'll kind of see a bit later. Okay, just taking a drink of my lovely Korean beer. Okay, we move into chapter 2, where the dude kind of gets away, and we see that Roach is being followed by this gentleman called Gentry. And we can see this picture with the big ass here, but he has kind of like a weird spine thing happening, which kind of becomes apparent later on in the story. Roach goes to the higher-ups, but they're telling him just fucking leave it alone. And even the people who have the evidence, like in the police station, the evidence locker people, even they're telling him to leave it alone. So he goes to his own guy, and his own guy is kind of examining the axe, and he's like, dude, this thing is fucking ancient. Like, what the fuck is going on here? He calls his ex-wife. So we kind of have to piece together the backstory between Roach and his ex-wife here. And it's mainly because he could never get over the death of his father, and he was throwing himself into his work, so his ex-wife left. This is typical 80s, 90s cop movie shit, which you would expect because this is, written by Wesley Snipes. So those were the sorts of films that he made back in the day, and it works for the character. So I'm not really bothered by this, but there you go. He goes to his partner's, or his ex-partner, because the guy got killed, goes to his apartment, and as he's looking around, he finds this fucking alien in the floorboards, and Gentry comes and basically says, listen, there are people coming, you've got to get the fuck out of here. Is this guy a good guy or a bad guy? We don't know. But Roach kind of questions him, and then we can kind of see the people come into the apartment. There is, of course, a gunfight, and Roach and Gentry, or Gentry, however you want to pronounce it, get away. Gentry has this organic rocket launcher thing that he fucking uses to blow up the pursuing cars, which the concept looks cool. The concept is cool, I should say, but this thing just looks fucking dumb. That's lazy looking organic rocket launcher shit, in my personal opinion. Not being a nerd or anything, but come on, you can do fucking better than that. He drives the car into this facility where he is introduced to Core. And this is basically a group of people who are think of them as like the Men in Black, but the aliens are adversarial as opposed to trying to integrate into humanity, in as much as we find out that Earth is, in fact, according to them, an alien penal colony where they send their criminals and whatnot. And so these guys are just trying to kind of protect humanity from that knowledge. And Roach is now part of this organization. Now, this graphic did come with one of these. I do appreciate this in graphic novels just to keep your place, but there you go. So the leader of Core, who was actually the woman who was guarding the businessman's apartment when he and his partner first came there, gives him some weaponry and a wristband which will allow them to kind of track Roach anywhere in the world. Roach also discovers that his father, who was a cop that he kind of looked up to and he's been living in this dude's shadow his entire life, was a member of this organization. This is where the pacing issues kind of come into play. This is where, around about where they start, in my opinion. So he's in his father's former office, and he finds this kind of box with a crystal and learns that his father was basically in on this alien conspiracy the whole time and a member of Core. Now, their job at this point, based on the dossier of names of survivors that he found in his, like his partner was basically trying to hide from him and whatever. He has these 3 names and he's trying to track them down before they get killed. We find out his ex-wife is like into MMA or some shit. Not really sure what this is supposed to entail, and I've read this thing 3 times now. But there you have it. Roach gets to the first victim too late. His spine has been ripped out. And then we see Roach kind of going, fuck, it could be anyone in the crowd here. I don't know what to do. And then we get to the second victim, this woman. And again, she's approached too late because the killer is already at her apartment. She realizes, all right, this is what's going on. Okay, she kind of accepts her fate. And this dude slaughters her. Absolutely brutal. Roach, while he was too late, does kind of get an opportunity to take this guy out, but doesn't. And this is when we see Roach's powers kind of manifest. These bone spurs come out of his fucking body. And the guy, the killer, doesn't seem all that fucking surprised. And then Roach passes out. And when he wakes up, he discovers in this woman's apartment basically a ton of these artifacts and a nice throwback to some H.P. Lovecraft-ish. I know he didn't create The King in Yellow. I know Lovecraft kind of gave that to his friends, and The King in Yellow, Carcosa, Haster, all of that stuff. But it's a nice little kind of detail chucked in there, which made me laugh when I turned the page and saw that. I'm like, that's pretty fucking cool. The leader of Core is a little worried about Roach's health, but he's like, don't worry, I'm a fast healer. It's all good. And then we see his ex-wife getting out of the shower, the same pose that we saw Roach in with the big asshole. Hey, whatever floats your boat. Wesley, that's all good, mate. And her apartment is being kind of attacked. This is because the bad guys know who Roach is, and they're kind of going after his loved ones. Roach manages to kind of find this map that his father left hidden for him, and it leads him down here. Now, for some reason, between this page and this page, he's completely changed his outfit. So, not sure what's going on there. Again, the book has pacing issues. Not a problem, in my personal opinion. Then we get to chapter 4. He's now wearing a mask. He looks fucking awesome. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see this either on the big screen or a fucking Netflix show or something, because I think the character design and the costume design is out of this fucking world. But he gets to this place where he discovers an alien refuge, and he learns that his father has actually been protecting these aliens, that they're not criminals, and they're kind of waiting to go back to their home planet. They see him as some sort of a messiah character, and they're going to kind of do this ritual to baptize him. At the same time, his ex-wife is being tortured by these assholes, and Gentry and the Corps are... We realize at this point that they're not the good guys. That they're in fact the fucking bad guys that want to exterminate these fucking aliens, and they were looking for Roach's father's information on where the aliens were hiding just so they could take them out. They are using the tracking device that they put on Roach to kind of locate them. Roach goes through his baptism, and at the same time, Core has this army of fucking soldiers, and we find out that the aliens are kind of all over the world. We've got Mexico, Winnipeg for some reason, New York, London, Cairo, St. Petersburg, Mount Ararat, the supposed resting place of Noah's Ark, Beijing, Machu Picchu. Notice there's no Sydney or the Opera House or anything like that, because in Independence Day, we got the shot of the fucking alien ship crashed near the Opera House. So, all right, Wesley, fuck you if you hate Australia, buddy. The kangaroos are going to get you anyway, mate. We find out that this baptism has unleashed Roach's powers. Now, this is where the story for me gets a little fucking messed up, in as much as we find out that Roach's father has kind of grafted bones of these aliens onto Roach when he was a child. So that kind of, you know, genetic tampering on your own fucking kid to help out this alien race, that's a little invasive. That's like something you'd see in a fucking soap opera or something. But he comes out of it more powerful, able to kind of control his powers, realizing as well that he has a fucking brother. Okay. The bad guys are still at Roach's ex-wife's house, but they are attacked by Roach and the serial killer, who have come to save her. We find out that this guy ain't a serial killer. This guy is Roach's brother, in as much as Roach has some of this alien's bones grafted into his own body. So they are, in effect, now actual brothers. He saves his ex-wife, who's still in a towel. Okay. We get this fantastic kind of cover page here, which just looks wicked. And they decide that they need to go and attack the core facility because there is a dropship coming that they can use to get the aliens off the planet. The aliens all over the world are being attacked and simply being completely wiped out. They decide with his ex-wife, who's this MMA karate expert chick who we never find out what her job is, to go after Core. Roach's alien brother gives him a crystal that puts him in contact with an image of his dead father, where he gets kind of a little bit of closure there, which is kind of good. And then they head off on the assault. They basically bust into the facility. At this point, the serial killer dude, I'm just going to call him that. I think his name is like K-Pax or Caplix or something like that, but I'm just going to call him the serial killer dude. He goes his own way. Roach and his ex-wife go theirs. The reason he goes his own way is because his master is being held in this facility. Roach and his ex-wife kind of get ambushed, whereas this dude finds his master and gets him out of there. Roach goes absolutely crazy, but then is completely surrounded by the core forces. Again, this cover is just phenomenal. The aliens are systematically getting slaughtered. The forces go to attack Roach and his wife and his brother and the brother's master, but Roach creates this kind of bone cage that protects everyone, and then they just go apeshit and manage to escape. Once out, their main goal is to find this dropship and get the fuck out of Dodge City. But Roach discovers that the whole purpose, his brother wants to take the dropship and not only leave the planet, because there's pretty much no more aliens left, they've all been wiped out. Not only leave the planet, he wants to annihilate the human race for the crimes that they've committed. And Roach is like, you killed all those fucking people and you still want to fucking do this. So they kind of get into it a little bit and end up escaping. Roach and his ex-wife end up escaping. They take a car and go to where the dropship is going to land. Roach suits up in his kind of bone armor, and they wait for the dropship to come with the aliens on board, but it turns out that no, the dropship is being manned by humans, and while we believe that Earth was a penal colony, for the aliens, the humans were the first criminals to be put on Earth, and this alien race were the second. So humans have basically been on Earth the entire time, but the original humans were space convicts. So basically Earth is Australia, if you want to fucking put it that way. Big twist at the end there, and they end up going to battle, but the humans unleash something on the planet, and that is where the story ends. So the Exiled, and we get some kind of QR codes if you want to scan those, and some backers and some fantastic art and whatnot. So the Exiled is not only a reference to Roach and his being kind of put aside for his role in the Red Friday massacre, but it also kind of talks about like humanity and the alien race and the penal colony and all that kind of stuff. Okay, what do I think about this book? As a story, it's a lot of fun. Yes, you can see the huge pacing issues in this thing, the leaps in logic, and all of that stuff. But I don't fault it for that. It's a fucking graphic novel. The art is fantastic. The characters are great. I will, because this was backed as a Kickstarter, and I will back if part 2 comes out as a Kickstarter. Yeah, of course, I want to know what the fuck happens at the end of the story. This needs to be a movie or a TV show. I just think it just lends itself so much to that. The alien twist. Okay, I bitch to my friends all the time about late Stephen King works and how it's always aliens this and aliens that. I really enjoyed it in this. I thought it was really, really cool. The guy ripping people's spines out, I'm like, what the is this some Last Action Hero type shit? And then it turns out that the spines that he was ripping out were actual like aliens that had grafted themselves onto people and blah, 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 blah. Really, really cool. Great story. Thoroughly enjoyed it. With that said, I'm not sure when this is going to be released to the wider public. And I do have to admit, I probably said this in the intro, not a fan of this large kind of format, but you know what? That's just me being a little bit nitpicky. So that was The Exiled, written by Wesley Snipes. We have also Lawson, Aram, and Esquivo. I'm assuming they are one or more of the artists. Let me just kind of check. Script and letters by Adam Lawson. Art by Gabriel Esquivo Santos. Colors by Valentin Manco. And chapter on cover art by Rob Willis. Story by Wesley Snipes, Adam Lawson, and Keith Aram. Okay. There you go. It was a fun read. It was a nice kind of aside from the stuff I usually get. And the fact that this was a Kickstarter that I backed over a year ago and just forgot about. So when it turned up, I'm like, all right, I'll give it a go. You know what? Whatever. Read it in one sitting. That's how much I enjoyed it. So there you have it. The Exiled by Wesley Snipes and others. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, leave a comment, hit the notification bell because I do try and release at least one video a week. Sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on what my workload is, which at the moment is pretty fucking hefty. But, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're up for it, have a fantastic rest of your day. Please stay safe. And, as always, of course, just go out and read a fucking book, people.